Here are 5 things I bet you didn't know that horror movies can tell us about the future and about the economy. Hello everyone, this is Glen Guyton, keynote speaker, futurist, and movie buff. Hey, how many of you like horror movies? I'm not going to say I'm the biggest fan of horror movies, but I've watched the traditional movies, Nightmare on Elm Street, the Freddy Krueger movies, Jason, all of those things. Sometimes it's fun to be scared, right? You just get good and scared. But you know what's scarier than fiction? Real life. And there are a lot of things that are going on in society with our economy that we probably should be paying attention to as leaders. So I want to give you 5 things that movie watching can tell us about the economy. Now, if you did not know, let me take these horns off. That's not helping my presentation. And you're probably saying, Glenn, why do you have those horns? Hey, don't worry about it. But some things to think about. Movie sales are up and horror movie sales are up. Now, in the past, horror movies maybe made up 2 to 3% of the box office revenue scale. Now that number is up to 15%, between 12 and 15%. That's a big jump. So what's happening and what do we need to know as we think about the rise of the horror movie genre? Now you say, hey, Glenn, I'm busy. I'm a business person. Why should I care about what movies people are going to see? Megan, the movie where the person crawls out of the TV. Why should I care? Well, here's something to think about. If audiences today are flocking to haunted houses or trying to be scared, it could be more than just a simple thrill. It may be a weak signal, a cultural whisper that points to something deeper. It could be a sign about our mood and upcoming financial behavior. So here are a few things. Number 1, we really need to think about the emotional climate and people wanting to escape. That's why they're choosing horror movies. Maybe the rising demand for horror may correlate with real life anxiety and people concerned about the future and trying to find a safe way to process all of the weirdness and uncertainty and unpredictable nature of our current world. So people say, hey, how can I deal with these things in a healthy way? I could either maybe go out and, well, I won't say that. Let's keep it PG here. But maybe instead of me going out and doing something dangerous or doing something risky, I can go to the movie. I can process this in a safe environment. People seek controlled fear as a release valve when the real world anxieties such as economic instability, political tension, and job insecurity feel overwhelming. So that's one sign. Now, the second thing that the increase in horror movie revenue could be telling us is about disposable income allocation. I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit cautious of how I spend my money. Now, I still like to spend money. I still like to go on vacations and things like that, but I'm thinking twice about where my entertainment dollars go. So consumers like me and you may be cautious about more big ticket luxury items, and they still want affordable excitement. And you know what gives us affordable excitement? Movies. Yep, that's right. Movies. Going to the movies is a wise choice when you think about saving on your discretionary spending. People are still willing to buy movie tickets, even if it's for this niche, scary genre. It just suggests that people are probably trading down. Hey, instead of buying a ticket to go on this cruise or some expensive vacation, we can escape a little bit and go to the movies. Now this is number 3 is a really big one, and I think my son is in this phase. Is we have to pay attention to generational shifts when it comes to movie watching. Now, Gen Zs, which my son is one, their spending habits a little bit different from the older generation, and they tilt toward communal, cathartic, or cheap thrill experiences as a way to combat the economic pressures. So younger audience, that's who likes horror movies, right? I don't need to be scared, but younger audiences tend to go toward this horror movie genre. So as they enter into adulthood, they have their own discretionary income. They could really be boosting this horror movie genre. Could be a sign of things to come. They're facing significant financial strain from student loans, housing inaffordability, wage stagnation. So they still want to go out and have a good time, but their taste for horror could reflect both a cultural preference and a signal of generational unease about their economic prospects. Number 4, storytelling as a barometer. We need to pay attention to the themes of successful horror films. If we look at what's happening, a lot of them are about survival, scarcity, maybe even the collapse of society. Many of the new horror genre movies are about technology. Now, look, I'm not a Gen Z, but remember Terminator, AI? Hey, something to think about. The unease about computers translated into a whole movie where the computers took over and destroyed the world. So horror movies often mirror real life social anxieties. And so what people are afraid of and what shows up in the movies is often very similar, or at least the movies are an exaggeration of real fears. So a surge in horror popularity may foreshadow what people fear losing or where they feel a lack of control. Now, number 5, a signal that we could get from the increase in this horror genre is that movie theaters like to make money, right? And how do you make money? You either have to have a really, really good film where tons and tons of people come, or you have a really cheap film and have good attendance. So entertainment firms might be treating horror as an economic hedge. Horror movies are historically low budget, but high return. Studios may be pivoting toward horror as a safer bet in uncertain times. And we know that Hollywood really is a copycat industry. So, hey, if we can milk that cow, we're going to milk that cow for all that it's worth. But it's still a signal. If the industry is saying, hey, we need to cut down on what we spend, but we still want a good rate of return, they're going to invest in something like the horror genre. So it's a market signal that even the big studios may be a little bit more risk adverse. Everybody's not going to be a Marvel movie blockbuster, even those are on decline, or no one's going to give directors the same money that they give James Cameron for Avatar. Every movie is not going to make $1 billion. So what's the safe bet? The safe bet is horror. It's cheap. Young people will come, and it's low risk, high reward. So the bottom line is that the spike in horror movie viewing could be a weak signal that people are concerned about the future. Public anxiety is rising because of economic uncertainty. Consumers are shifting to more affordable thrills, signaling that there's some concern about how we do our discretionary spending, and the cultural storytelling is reflecting the real fears and offering clues to where society feels it's most vulnerable. So now when we think about economic scanning, sometimes that really seems really complex, but we need to pay attention to the weak signals that are around us. And what is the world saying to us? What are those quiet whispers in society that we can be paying attention to that gives us a glimpse of what we need to be doing in the future? So what can you do? Well, make sure that if you are in retail or a consumer-related business, that you have some affordable options. People want to know that they're getting great value. So whatever product that you offer, you sell, make sure you emphasize the lasting value that people will gain from purchasing your product. If you are in a subscription-based type of business, understand that there is some growing risk with subscriptions. People don't want long-term commitments with all of the short-term instability. So if you're trying to capture people for the long term, make sure that they have an easy way to get out. People will still buy, but they don't want to be locked into long, lengthy contracts during a time of uncertainty. So make sure you give people a way out, and they'll stick with you. Great value, give them a way out, and then pay attention to the stories that are out there, the pain points, the things people have anxiety about, what's going on in those horror genres. What can we learn? People want to feel safe. Yeah, they may be exploring ways to work out their anxiety, but people want to feel safe. They're concerned about technology. They're concerned about their money. They're concerned about the collapse of established institutions. So pay attention to those things. Hey, my name is Glen Guyton, keynote speaker, futurist. Hey, I'm helping you to unlock the power of your people, make better decisions so that you won't be caught off guard. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.